Happy Halloween everybody, and welcome to a ghost investigation where we're going to be looking at some of the most haunted aspects of Haworth. Now Haworth we know is famous for the Bronte sisters and Wuthering Heights, tenant of Wildfell Hall, can't get my words out, and Jane Eyre. And these cobbles literally are full of ghost stories, folklore, and some of the most powerful books of all time. Now earlier today, we started this a lot earlier. We started it in the late afternoon just as the sun was setting to film in the graveyard because you can't see where you're going when it's pitch black because there's no lights in there. And let me tell you, what we found and felt and saw in that graveyard was mind-blowing. It's about 25 minutes, and as the story unravels, it just blew our mind and literally you can't make it up. So we're going to go to that clip next, and then we're going to meet you either back here or some other spooky place. Now, we're currently in the Haworth Cemetery with the parsonage behind me, and we've gone out of time sync because, as you'll see, it's lighter because I wanted to do the graveyard when it was lighter because you can't see anything because you'll slip and fall. So grave stories, ghost stories from Haworth. One of the insights I had a few days ago when I was tuning into the energy of Emily Bronte and Branwell Bronte was that obviously this parsonage was in the graveyard. Now we're seeing it as an old graveyard with old bones in it, old stories, old history. When they lived here, these were their family and friends, their mother, their relatives, their loved ones, their neighbours, babies. There's actually a grave for I think it's 2 or 3 babies at the front of the parsonage there with some railings around it. And one of the things that Emily showed me yesterday was all of the pain from this graveyard going up through and into the parsonage, affected them all in many different ways. But it had the most prominent effect on Branwell Bronte. Now history depicts him as a drunk, but one of the things that Emily said was that there was mild epilepsy there, Asperger's, autism, dyslexia, just to name a few, and that he actually was a super intelligent man, just like his siblings, but he was also a highly sensitive person, sensitive to energies, sensitive to life, like many of you are that are watching, and all of that accumulating in this graveyard helped to send him on his way into oblivion. And you can possibly see why, because this is an old graveyard now, but back then it was a present graveyard. Okay, so any energies here now that we're feeling, I know we're here at autumn. One of the things I'm feeling is that this graveyard isn't as active as it has been in the past, that many of these souls have transitioned to many different lifetimes. There is a ley line that I'm feeling, and it's been shown to me very much like a main vein of a body, and it's very, very strong. It's a power centre that goes straight through the house, but off of it, you know, like the nervous system, it's got lines coming off as well. So it's going straight through the house. Shall I turn around so you can see the house? It's going straight through the house there. I'm being shown the people that lived there before the Brontes took it over. There was an older spirit that had latched on to Branwell, an old man, very hunched over, very angry, very sad, very determined. He wasn't actually connected to the house, he was connected to a cottage nearby, and he came onto Branwell during one of his drinking rounds.
Which he had a few.
Yeah, which had a few. I'm now being shown the pregnancy that Charlotte Bronte had. Why am I being shown the pregnancy that Charlotte Bronte had? The baby that she had, Charlotte, well, she didn't have it, she didn't give birth to it. It was actually Emily. It was actually the girl, because Charlotte was the last sibling to go. If you're wondering why I'm looking behind you, guys, behind you, Charlotte was the last sibling to go. But it was Emily that had come in spirit form, to actually cause something within the body from an energetic perspective to get Charlotte to go over to the other side, because Charlotte was never meant to marry and become a wife, a housewife. The three sisters were meant to be wild and free. You would never have seen them writing 50 books, 10 books, 20 books and just turning into machines for the male patriarchy. They were meant to go young and fresh. And that was one of the ways in which she came in and then went out, did Emily, afterwards. Also as well, I think I shared this on my Facebook group, where I said I also had a vision that Emily Bronte also had a past life as Jim White, or is it Jim White? James Herriot. So you think James Herriot, you're joking? Actually no, because North Yorkshire, I know this isn't North Yorkshire, a love of animals.
Wrote some books,
was able to step into his patriarchal energy, but in a good way, not in a serious way, in a bad way. He's a kind man. And if you think about all creatures great and small and the power of that today, it's very similar to the power of this today. People are still reading his books, watching the stuff that came from it.
If the Bronte sisters would have had a chance of having a career, then they could have been very similar, because they could have written about what they could have become vets, they could have become doctors, they could have become priests, but they weren't allowed back then.
Well, if you think about Emily preferred animals to humans.
There you go then.
And if you think about women back in the Victorian times when they were here as the Brontes, they couldn't have careers like that. You know, scullery maid if you were lucky, but you were reared to be a housewife. So the writing would have been taken off of them eventually, I think. They had to use fake names in the beginning.
Yeah. They had to use male names. Male pseudonyms.
I'm also being shown that there's some manipulation in the stories. Is this the actual books or the stories of the Brontes? This is to do with the church, and after Patrick Bronte had died, there's been some manipulation in the records, a changing of the records. It's to do with him, it's to do with his family, but it's also to do with locals and some of the things that he was looking into. There is a spirit in this graveyard, a female, who was in a very, very abusive marriage with a drunkard, and she was also one of the inspirations for Cathy Earnshaw, and her spirit used to connect with Emily. She was here a while before Emily got here. Literally, as I looked over there, you won't be able to see it now, but I saw what I thought a baby, like as though a baby had been left against a gravestone and just abandoned over there. Literally, it's gone. The girl's just walked past, but it's a modern day girl, but it's not there now. So some more on this spirit. Her name was Rebecca. And she was married, obviously, to a drunkard, but she'd had an affair, and she was attacked over the head with a stick in a drunken rage with her husband. They lived towards the bottom of Haworth Main Street. There's also a quite a wealthy man, rich man, that she based Edgar Linton on as well. And I don't think we know his name. I don't think it's like, because what was it? Pondon Hall, the family there. It's not them. It's somebody else that we don't know of. Possibly a doctor. Because as I'm seeing him, he is very much like Edgar Linton, very much Not a lot going for him, very plain Jane. There's been witchcraft on this land as well. Are we going even further back into Druid times before that church was there? I'm just seeing it as total barren moorland, very much like where we've been today. Well, not in the video, but total barren moorland. It's almost like they're human, but they're not human. Some people settled here, very, 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 very magical people, very dualistic people, light and dark, and they wanted to settle around about this area, and they opened magic portals up, they opened ley lines up, they did work with the earth, they did work with the trees, this is ancient, even before the Vikings came, way before the Vikings came. But somehow they got moved on. There was a period where the weather went horrifically bad and they couldn't sustain here, so they went. But everything that they'd started off was still here. And then when they came to live here, because they weren't just writers, and I've said this before, when you write a book, you're not just a writer, you're a channeler. And they were the biggest channelers of our time in so many ways. Those books weren't just imagination. Those books came from places that will we ever have access to again? I'm not sure. But they managed to have access to it. How did they manage to have access to it? Because they were raw, vulnerable, wild. And in a time when there wasn't the interference that we have now, the interference of technology, the interference of electricity, the interference of noise. So they were able to sink lower into, like states of ayahuasca, where you can go, we need plant medicine to do it now. They didn't need plant medicine to do it back then. But we need long-term meditation to be able to do it. They could do it like that. Let's call it imaginations for, word's sake, but they could just switch it on. It was just there. It was a constant. Do you know, like now writers will say they'll get writer's block or they have to go off somewhere to write. They didn't have any of that.
Didn't need to go anywhere though.
Well, no, they didn't need to. Well, this is before it was known for the Brontes. They didn't need to go anywhere because of the portal. But it's very, very powerful.
But they did though, didn't they? One of them had to go to Pondon Hall to write Wuthering Heights.
I think she wrote that all over the place.
Yeah.
No, they wrote in the living room there as well, around the dining table. And even that, being able to write with pen and quill. Like now we need bloody laptops and all kinds of tech and lighting and everything. Whereas sitting around a table and just writing good old-fashioned stories.
Some people probably just narrate it now to the laptop, and the laptop will type it for them. You know what I mean? Emily
also worked with the energy of fire. So when the fire was on, the coal fire and the crackle of the fire, she could work with energy, and she received a lot of downloads via the fire. Emily is the Moors, because I'm seeing a lifetime where she was the Moor. Because obviously, you know, the cycle of life that we come to the earth and we start off as rocks and trees and flowers. And as we're building up a consciousness and building up experience of being on the earth, and then we go into being animals and pets, and then we come into being humans, and sometimes we can even go back. She is the Moors. Emily Bronte is the Moors, if that makes sense. Anne Bronte was quite scared of Haworth. Anne Bronte was quite scared of Haworth. I'm now going on to the stonemason that was here, John Brown.
Was he Bramwell Bronte's friend?
Yeah.
Look right behind you. You got William Brown's grave there.
You're joking?
No. I can't see it. There's more names on that tombstone.
Is
more
there?
Browns.
Somewhere.
We are moving. That has been in shot all the way through.
Milton Brown.
Mary Brown.
Mary Brown.
William Brown. More Browns.
Martha Brown. The
Robert
son
Brown.
of Robert and Martha Brown.
Hannah, William.
Martha Brown, wasn't she his daughter?
Whose daughter? Sorry.
Brown's daughter. You know, the stonemason.
I don't know. You know the story, I don't. I'm assuming this is the Brown plot.
What?
I kid you not. I'm gonna have to. Sorry, it's gonna flick. There's a name Rebecca on this gravestone.
You're joking me.
No, I kid you not.
Oh!
Rebecca Hurley.
Oh!
She only 10. Oh no, I thought she was only 10, but sorry, that's a 10th of. Oh, sorry. It's not. Someone told me to look at this grave.
Rebecca?
There's another Rebecca here.
There's another Rebecca.
You'll have to knock all these leaves off. I can't really do it while I'm holding the camera.
I just don't want to get you. So you can see we're having to clear all this off, so we've not looked beforehand.
I know it. Oh. So, I can't. I'm trying to read it. So Rebecca Hurley died August 10th, 1944. I can't. I'm trying to read. Oh, I can't really work it out. So we've got Joseph, son of William, and maybe Rebecca. Yeah, so it's son of this. So this is the child of Rebecca. So that's the name on the. It's not Rebecca's grave.
Yeah.
It's the son. So Joseph, son of William and Rebecca Hartley. The son was 6-year-old. Something about Rebecca here. Rebecca, their daughter, died 20th year of age.
20?
Rebecca. Interesting.
So, that's a bit of a mind blow, because should we have camera back on me? Because I'm a bit mind blown now, because
Just a sec, I need to zoom back out.
I've also said in previous videos that Charlotte Bronte then went on and had a lifetime as Daphne du Maurier and wrote Rebecca. And we've got Rebecca's here. We've got the Rebecca that I picked up on there that died in quite a brutal way, but then was somehow attached herself to Emily Bronte and became Catherine Earnshaw, the inspiration for. We've got the Brown plot here, and this Rebecca plot is right near the doorway there. And I swear to you, you saw it, it was covered in leaves.
Yeah, I'm just trying to... 1831. So when was Branwell born? I never remember dates.
1818.
1818. So this is the son that died on 1831, age 6.
Yeah.
So this Rebecca would have been about when Branwell... I'm trying to work out whether there's any tell of how old this Rebecca is. Something's about of the above Rebecca. We're gonna have to.
Yeah, we'll have to have a Google it.
We might have to pause it so I can properly get rid of the leaves.
Should we get rid of the leaves and we'll get the numbers and then we'll come back?
Yeah, we'll come back. Back in a minute. Ciao for now.
So we're back on again. And we've had a look, we've cleared some of these graves off here and we've realised that I was actually stood right in front of the grave of John Brown. So this is the grave. Can you see there?
Yeah.
Now, whilst Gary was clearing the graves, I kept the connection with him, and one of the things he wanted to say was that he was saving paperwork, books, poems that of Branwell's that have been destroyed. But why wouldn't he keep them in? Because he's saying he'd destroy stuff. He was becoming really erratic. He'd write really good things, he'd draw really good things, he'd paint really good things, but then he'd destroy them, he just took them in the fire. So John Brown was taking them off of him, or taking what he could to try to save them, because he wanted to get to a point where he could speak to the sisters and try and get some help for him, try and get this work out there. He's saying every time Branwell put himself out there, he just had an erratic episode. Did that conversation ever happen? Happened with Charlotte, and Charlotte was all for letting sleeping dogs lie. He's saying back then it was an embarrassment to have a drunkard in the family, and because Charlotte it was looking like she was going to be the last one standing from the siblings, she didn't want that burden on her shoulders as a woman. She wanted it just to be kept sterile, clean. So he's showing me the fire. I know that Charlotte did have a fire where she threw a lot of stuff onto that fire. Bronte, whatever she did, she threw a lot on, and it went onto that. So there was a book, at least a book, poems that were quite good that could have been published. Anything else
about the Rebecca?
Oh yeah, did we get to the bottom of Rebecca?
Well, she was married to somebody called William Hartley, and she lived 54 years, and he lived 76 years. Apparently, they had numerous children. No more information than that.
It's interesting.
They both lasted a while.
Yeah.
He outlived her.
But she died around about the time that Wuthering Heights was being written.
So it's 1853? No,
1845, wasn't it?
No, 1853 she died.
Was it?
Hold on, no.
No.
1846 she died.
Right, so that is around about the time that it was all happening. Interesting. So, back to John Brown. Anything else about John Brown? He's showing me some of the things that used to happen in this graveyard, things that were hidden. And as a stonemason, not just him, but other people that worked in the graveyard. So sometimes people that committed suicide were secretly interred in the graveyard, behind the parson's back. He's saying it was god-awful times around here. They often come and stand and look at all these visitors, and he said it was just desolate, horrible place to be, especially for poor people. He's now pointing me to Anne's chest, Anne Bronte, and the chest issues that she had. He says there was a lot of them like that, caused by the smoke, the damp, the cold, the mould in the house, the damp in the house. He's also saying that in our times now, Branwell towards the end of his life started to develop schizophrenia and became, he said it's a lot worse than what we realise and what we've been led to believe in the books, which is another reason why it had to be. I'm wondering, you know, Gary.
What?
I'm wondering if Branwell killed himself.
How did he say he died? He died of an overdose or
Well,
alcoholism?
there's a strange story. There's a strange story where he died stood up. But I don't know how you die stand up. There's quite a few stories.
Unless he was hanging from something.
Whew. As you've said that, my chest is hurting right there, like I can't breathe. I know you don't hang yourself there, but there, it's like, you know, when something takes your breath away, like you've been winded. I'm wondering if Branwell killed himself. And it stands to reason, because if his dad was a parson, there is no way he could have been buried in sacred land.
No. So that could be the fake records you were thinking about. That he actually killed himself, but they hid the fact that he killed himself, so he could be buried in the family vault under the church. Possibly.
And that could be why they all went down very quickly.
Possible.
He's also saying about Branwell's dad, Patrick Bronte, was never the same afterwards. It was like a split personality. You know, you were that way one day, and the next day it was a changed man. And he's saying it went beyond, because he'd already had a lot of grief. He'd already had 2 daughters that had died, a wife that had died. So he was kind of getting used to grief. You can get used to grief. Lived here, so you get used to death. I think he killed himself.
Interesting.
How we'd done that, I don't really want to look into that, because that goes too far, I think. But I'm being shown his wrists.
Well, if he's developing schizophrenia, then, you know, so that could have gone a bit too far at times.
I'm wondering if it was his wrists, because I'm being shown his wrists, and I'm thinking, well, how would you hide that? I'm thinking modern day times. God forbid, if I slit my wrist now, I would go somewhere where there's a science, and they would examine me and they would find out what had happened. But back then, like he said earlier, didn't he? They were doing all sorts of covering up. Why did he mention about burying people that had killed themselves in graves to keep it hidden so they could get buried in consecrated ground? So all he needed, if John Brown and all the people that, the stonemasons, the people that buried him, the undertaker, they could clear something for the vicar, the parson, and keep something hidden, just clear his wrists up, bathe them. They could have even kept the body in there. I don't know, I don't want to go into the science of rotting of bodies, but that's what I'm feeling.
Well, to be honest with you, wouldn't it just be the doctor just say, oh, he's died of this, and that's it? And stick him in a box and they bury it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know, when I came up here, I was like, I wonder if we're going to, because it does feel quite settled in here. But I've quite enjoyed this.
Bless you.
This is what I get like. This is, so, yeah.
So very strange. So we actually filmed the video in front of John Brown's
Without
family
realising
plot,
it.
without even knowing. And we got...
We're stood
Claire
next to
was
Rebecca.
talking about Rebecca, and I couldn't keep my eyes off this grave. I could not keep my eyes off it. And I said, this will be ridiculous if there's a Rebecca in this grave. And I had to look. We had to look, and there is, and that's bonkers. I can't. My scientific mind cannot comprehend that. Yeah. And there's no way we could have faked those leaves on there because they were old leaves.
No, you can't.
They'd been there a while, and it was hard to get them off. If we just put some leaves on there, you know, I mean, every other grave's covered in leaves. You know what I mean? So we'd have had to clear it. And how would we have known that there were Rebecca in this grave? We wouldn't have had a clue,
I didn't. And the fact that Rebecca then appeared in a Daphne du Maurier book, and it was so close to the parsonage.
And John Brown.
Yeah. I'm just my mind. Once you do this work and you go over, you think, why are they telling me this? Why is John Brown telling me that they were putting people that killed themselves into fake graves and stuff? And why is he telling me about the documents being messed with? And why is he telling me about? And then this work is about putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. Wasn't that fascinating?
It was.
So what you don't know is, after that we went back to our cottage, and my very own Kieran O'Keefe here, who was going to look at the facts and figures of everything that I say tonight, actually went online and Googled it. And what we found out were many different keys that led to this post office here. Now, this is the old post office.
We think.
In Haworth. Now, there is a story that it could have gone out a little bit further, but somewhere around here is the old Haworth post office, where we can trace Rebecca to. Yes, Gary, because you've got the facts here, haven't you?
Yeah, husband. What I forgot.
Do you want to share the facts of this? He was was it Benjamin?
No, it was William.
William Hartley.
William Hartley, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can't remember.
It was William Hartley on the gravestone.
Yeah.
But you did the facts of
it.
it.
So William Hartley, yeah,
Yeah.
he started his life somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he had a first wife.
Yeah.
I forget her name.
Yeah.
We can put the link to this where I got it from. So he had a first wife. She died young.
Yes.
She died reasonably young.
Yes.
And he moved to Haworth.
Yes.
And he was he worked with tin.
An iron.
An
You
iron.
said iron, didn't you?
Yeah, he ironed. He said tin, I think, but he worked with tin, and he had a shop which I think was opposite the entrance to the church, which is difficult to say because the church has changed since then.
Mm-hmm. It's round about here.
It's probably it'd be here or further up the street, up the schoolhouse, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
But he also became the postmaster. Yeah. And the postmaster was the man who became friends with Bronte.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to pick up from there?
And then...
his second wife was Rebecca.
And his second wife was called Rebecca, yeah.
Rebecca Seed.
Rebecca Seed, yeah. So we started to piece all the other pieces of the jigsaw together, and if you're going to be a friend of Branwell Bronte, and you're going to live opposite the Black Bald, you're going to be a drinker, aren't you? So Branwell used to go here to sleep it off. And Emily allegedly would light a candle in that window to let Branwell know that Patrick Bronte had gone to bed. So that his father, Patrick Bronte, had gone to bed. Yeah. So that it was safe for him to go back home and snuggle down. Now, in the channelled piece that you saw, we talked about a spirit called Rebecca, we talked about an alcoholic husband, we talked about strange early death. And when I tuned into it again, what the words I got was Rebecca is the key. It's the key to unlocking all of this. So with this type of work we do, you never get straight answers, and which is why I like it. It's all about investigation and layers of an onion. So we think all of that channeled piece that we got there leads us here.
Mm.
And the strange thing is that the book Rebecca was about the first wife.
Mm.
It's all very, and we said about Charlotte
Right,
Bronte.
okay. But I can't remember what the first wife's name was now.
Rebecca. Because what happened was you never got the name of the second wife.
Oh, right, in Rebecca.
In Rebecca.
No, I'm talking about, I don't know who William's first wife was. I can't remember.
We don't know her name.
Mm-hmm. We do.
We don't know her name. Well, we do, but it's just having to sort through loads of information.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a different parallel life of two wives. You know the name of, you don't know the second name of, you don't really know how first one died, and all of the interweaving. Now, these people that lived in Haworth Parsonage, they didn't do facts and figures, they did energy. They weaved in energy, they weaved in mysticism, they weaved in spirituality, they weaved in folklore, they weaved in the light, the dark, the universe and everything. So it's almost like all of these houses, all of these graves, all of these lives, all of these stories, those three ladies in there and Branwell all were magnets for all this information, and it comes in through the crown chakra and out through the pen. Because one of the things my guide said when I went back and I was cooking tea, they said literally, as we come into planet Earth now, our imaginations are closed down and we have to read books, we have to watch films, theatre. If we're lucky and we get family that open our imagination up and get us to explore, brilliant. These children, the Bronte children, they literally came to Earth with imaginations that you very rarely see. Mm-hmm. And they were able to bring in such power and such knowledge that we're still talking about today. And they're not just books. Those books, those stories, this intrigue, this history that starts and ends here is all about our evolution as well, and all of the different lives that lived here. So yeah, very fascinating. Don't you think, Gary?
We do, yes. What are we going to do next? I think you've boxed this one off now.
We'll box this one off. Do you fancy going to the school?
Shall we do more? We're going
Should
to
we go to the school, and we're going to sit
the
outside the school, and we can see that you'll be able to see the parsonage in the dark. I just didn't want to walk through the graveyard because you can't see where you're going when it's dark.
No. Well, the gravestones are they're all over, aren't they? Higgledy-piggledy.
Yeah.
As it were.
We'll see outside the schoolhouse. So we'll film walking up so you get the feeling what it must have been like to be Branwell.
Yep. Here we go. So here we go. That's the church just to our left. The new church. Oh, burping. Sorry about that. This is the new church, as it were, compared to what would have been the church at Patrick and Bramwell and Charlotte and all the Brontes. This is the churchyard we was talking about earlier, and the gravestones, and it's actually a little bit more lit up than I thought it would be. I've got to say, but it's just the one light.
Yeah.
Just for that. Where we went, it was a lot further in. Okay, this is the schoolhouse. So we're just outside the schoolhouse. I'm not sure how much you can make out, or how much you can make out of Claire. Just bear with us a second and I'll see if I can shed some light on the subject. There we go. Oh, my brolly's fallen over. That's Claire.
No, I thought I was the brolly that had fallen over. My eyes watering with the wind. So I'm picking up on the energy of a little boy. He's very thin. He's lame. He's got a wooden leg. There's something with his hands. He's showing me the hands. They're very calloused and cold and blistered. He's showing me his family. They live middle of the way down the high street. And he's showing me, he's calling him the parson, Patrick Bronte. And he's saying that he wasn't meant to have education because of his background, but there was a lot of sadness in his family. His mother had died in childbirth. His father was also lame, and he's showing me the chest area, so very much like everybody else around here, tuberculosis type thing. He's showing me the Bronte siblings. And he's saying that there was a kindness with Charlotte Bronte. I know sometimes people can make her sound very, professional and very cold and aloof, but he's saying there was a kindness to them. There was a kindness to Branwell as well. There was a connection between them both. He's buried over there. He died at 13, and as I said that, like a light went across the graveyard, so he's buried over there. He's buried in the same grave as his mother. He's now talking about when their mother died and their sisters died, and the energy of grief there. And there was a lot more that the family did, particularly the sisters, in relation to the community, in relation to charity work, helping out, giving of money, cooking, cleaning, that is not in the records. He's talking about the energy in the church towards Patrick Bronte, and the fact that Patrick Bronte wanted to try and help people and help the villagers, but the powers that were at the time didn't like that. Anything else? One of the things he's saying is that many people walk up and down here and don't realise the true trauma of the people that lived and died in Haworth, and the conditions. He's even showing me the fact that sometimes they'd have to drink sewage. So I don't know how they got water on here. Was it wells? Because he's showing me the water, and the water is rank.
That's how they used to drink ale, didn't they? Because that's like they had to ferment the water to kill putting the alcohol in it killed any bacteria in there. So that's why people drink mead in the past and alcohol. I'm not sure in 1800s what their water filtration system was. I've got to admit. So it could be very similar.
He's saying there was a few of the locals that were quite abusive to children would hit them, because he's looking at my stick, and a lot of men would hit him and some of the other children with the sticks.
My brolly got knocked over.
Yes, it did, didn't it? It did as we started.
They didn't like that.
And he's saying a lot of families got to a stage where, especially when they were having child after child, that in some cases they felt it was a blessing when children died, because he said a lot of people started viewing children as curses and hindrances, finances. You know, like, you all right, mate? Have we got somebody coming up?
No, it's fine. I'll let you know.
And we can't imagine that, because in the world we live in now, children are a blessing. But he's saying back then, accidents happened with children where children were actually killed. Children were killed by family members because they couldn't afford to feed them.
Mm-hmm.
He said starvation and illness and poverty and lack of food and the brain, they would kill their children. So they used to kill their children. And you know, again, we were to walking up with, there's all these nice coffee shops down there, isn't there? Restaurants, pubs, bookshops. There's all the Bronte society stuff up there, and we're missing it. We're missing just what it was like in that street. And the pain that the residents had to go through. Anything else? He's showing me the love of books and the Brontes in helping people to read, children to read, adults to read and to write.
Well, there we go.
I wonder what you were doing then.
Oh, can you see that? Patrick Bronte built this schoolhouse to help the children to read, for the children of Haworth. There you go.
Anything else that we can pick up here?
I didn't even know that was there.
I think this little boy has got more to... I think he's gone on to be an author himself in a different lifetime. Does he want to share that? He's saying he's gone on to another lifetime where he's a teacher in a university. He's somewhere in Bristol, that area. And it's the knowledge and the love of books that he gained in this incarnation, and the love and the time of the people in that house that planted those keys, those codes, those stories that he couldn't use in that life because obviously he died young, that he was able to take on into our next life. And this university teacher is an absolute he's got an obsession with the Brontes, absolute obsession, to point he's possibly never even married, and if he has married, it's not lasted long. So yes, that's the story from here.
Where do you want to go next?
I don't know.
Our options are, we can go up towards the parsonage,
Yeah.
or we could go down to the Black Bull where the churchyard meets the Black Bull,
Yeah.
where we know the coffins go underneath the Black Bull,
Oh yes.
and then there's a mortuary.
Yeah. We'll have a little wander up there,
Okay.
and then just to show them it, just so they can get a feel of the parsonage at night.
Okay.
And then we'll go back down there and tell you the story about the coffins going under the
Yeah.
Black Bull.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, see you in a second. Right, so this is what it's like at night, walking towards the parsonage without my magic light on. Oh, it's, yeah. Would they have had gas lamps back then?
I don't know.
They may have had gas lamps, so you may have got that lamp there that's outside the parsonage. That's an electric one, obviously, but it could have been a gas one. So that's the inside of the parsonage. Well, not the inside, you know what I mean. The outside of the entrance to the parsonage. Best I can do at the moment because it is closed. So that's the parsonage. The best we could do at this time of night. The churchyard's to our right, and obviously the church is to our front. And nicely, they have illuminated it for us.
Hey.
I don't know if I've lost a glove.
Bless you.
I may have lost the glow. Oh no, I've got it. Right, sorry about that. I digress. So yeah, that's a church. This is the perils of working at night.
But it is a Halloween special.
Yes. So we're going to go this way, aren't we? I think, because we want to go down that and then down that path.
I thought we're going down that way, my sweet.
We'll have a discussion. So, just a small discussion of when we actually stopped in the Black Bull last year, I think it was. And this path we're going to go down runs directly behind the Black Bull, right under the Bramwell room that we were stopping in, which was ridiculously haunted.
It was, wasn't it?
Luckily, we didn't get anything while we were sleeping, but it showed itself when we left. We were well protected, let's put it that way.
Yes.
Because the door came crashing in on the way out to say, I'm glad you've gone. Oh God. This is why we weren't going to walk out here in the dark. That's the spooky graveyard. I don't know how much you can pick up of it in the dark. I have the torch, but I don't think it'll do much good. It's only any good for illuminating Claire. Oh God.
Watch these steps, my
Yeah,
sweet.
we have steps. Oh. Ooh. And more views of the church. And that's the church on the left, and the Black Bull is going to be directly in front of us, if I remember rightly. And this will be the story coming up, which we'll see in a second.
So, I think it was actually a couple of years ago that we stayed here. And we stayed in that end room there, which is called the Bramwell room. And I've always wanted to stay there, and we did. And we had an alright night. I did wake up with some type of elfy type character on the bed through the night. But it was fine, some like little troll type, but it was fine. But I didn't sleep very well at all, very unsettled sleep, but I didn't feel spooked. Anyway, you went to get the cases, didn't you? And you left me in the room, and I was just like bobbing along and taking my time and getting ready. And my main guide said to me, hurry up, we've not got much longer. And I was like, and he was like, chop chop, come on. I was like, what? Much longer for us? I did, and I got my stuff, and you came in and said, I've just been speaking to the landlord, and he asked me, how did your night stay go in that room? And I said, fine. And he was like, really? And I said, he said, nothing happened. And I said, nothing. And I was like, okay then, I think we need to go. So we did, we packed our stuff up, walked out, and as we walked out of the room, literally the door slammed on us. Yeah. So we got in the car, drove off, and I did some Googling of the Black Bull then. Because I like to Google things afterwards. And we found out that it is one of the most haunted hotel rooms in there, that there's been much paranormal activity in that room. We also found out that a lot of the graves, because the land is so peaty, if that's a word, a lot of the old graves have sunk and gone under the foundations of the Black Bull. And really, they're not sure how long the Black Bull will be able to stand. It could be forever, it could be for a few hundred years, it could be 50. But all of the bones, or a lot of the bones, have gone under the Black Bull.
Can I just say something?
What?
I've realised why it might make more sense now, because some of this graveyard would have been there with the old church.
Yes.
And the new church may have got built on old graves, you never know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And the graveyard would have looked very different, potentially. But there, that's an aside.
Yeah, it does make, yeah. And if you can see here, there's graves right up here. And possibly even there's graves over here as well. So, and there's graves there.
Oh yeah.
So, this graveyard will have been rammed to capacity. And like John Brown said earlier, they were burying people in there left, right and centre that weren't even marked for criminal activity, suicide, disease. People couldn't afford graves. It was a hive of activity, let's put it that way. So yeah, and yeah, the Black Bull is everything that it says it is. It would be because alcohol, drugs, recreational drugs When you drink and you take recreational drugs, it lowers the vibration of the building and you. So there will be very little protection on a building like that, especially one that's near the graveyard, being surrounded by so much pain, disease, imbalance, poverty, unaliving and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's our story of the Black Bull.
So just for reference, that is the Black Bull and the iconic frontage of the Black Bull in the iconic square at Haworth. Wonderful. Okay, so the King's Arms. Let's have a look. Oh. So again, this road leads up to the church. All the roads lead to the church. And there she is again.
So, the King's Arms. Did you know that this used to be the old morgue of Haworth in the times of the Brontes? Can't imagine it, can you? After what we've just said about pubs and vibration being lowered, etc., with alcohol, the old morgue. I mean, was it a pub back then? It will have been, it was.
It probably was.
It was, yes, because I know Bramwell used to come here. So it used to be a pub. It still is a pub. And it used to be the morgue. Now, through the night, I woke up and I had a vision of, all I can describe it as like a horse and cart, but it was like a flat wooden cart and it had bodies laid on the top of it, covered in like hessian sack and blanket type things, yeah. And you could see the head sticking out, you could see the feet sticking out. And I told you about this, didn't I, Gary? And you said that it would have been the morgue person, mortician, whatever his name was, dropper off of bodies, bringing in the bodies from that side of Haworth into here.
Yep.
Very, very, very sad, spooky to think that that's how we think about how we treat our dead now. And again, the pain and trauma of that to the villagers outside your house. And I'm also hearing, and the stench, people that had been dead for ages, neglected, whatever, and the smell of that going, and the smell and the energy of that going past your house. So if you missed the last bit of that, just to go over it, imagine that in itself, living here in Victorian England, very little money, diseased, traumatised, frightened, and every day hearing the clip clop, clip clop, clip clop of the horse and cart with all of those bodies laid on top of it, on top of each other. The smell of it, the energy of it, every day going past your house. So all of these people, every day, were faced with death and destruction. And we're back to where we started. And with that, let's bring this to a close, sending light to all of those that stepped forward, opening a portal of love for them to walk back through and find peace, leaving a little bit of golden light at all the places that we've been to bring peace, balance and settlement. And thank you for watching. Have a fantastic night, and remember that there's much more to Halloween than spooky witches and spooky ghosts in white sheets. That there's actually the dead are not people to mock, to fear, to mither. There's actually a lot to learn from death, disease and destruction. And happy Halloween. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share and subscribe.
Happy Halloween.